The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened with unprecedented urgency. Representatives from 73 species filled the crystalline amphitheater orbiting the neutron star Kelver 9, their varied forms casting strange shadows in the pulsating stellar light. Ambassador Trinity Chin stood motionless in the defendant's circle, her dark eyes scanning the assembled aliens with calculated calm. Beside her, Commander Vincent Drake kept his hands clasped behind his back, his military bearing unmistakable even in civilian attire. The human delegation will answer for their transgressions, proclaimed High Arbiter Extort, his tentacles writhing with barely contained indignation. The Valkyrian's bioluminescent skin flashed crimson, a display meant to intimidate. Your species has violated Protocol 7 Alpha by establishing colonies in the disputed zones without Council authorization. Trinity's lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. Disputed by whom? High Arbiter? The zones were unclaimed when we arrived. Unclaimed by those with Council recognition, hissed Representative S.H. Carr of the Serpentine Collective. Your species lacks the sophistication to understand galactic law. Vincent's jaw tightened, but he remained silent. They had rehearsed this. Trinity was the diplomat. He was backup. We understand perfectly, Trinity replied smoothly. You want us to abandon 3 thriving colonies, displace 2 million human settlers, and surrender mineral rights worth approximately 40 trillion credits. In exchange for what exactly? Extort's tentacles performed an elaborate gesture. In exchange for not having your homeworld quarantined, your military fleet dismantled, your species confined to your birth system for the next 1,000 cycles. A ripple of approval coursed through the council chamber. Several delegates activated their translation matrices to express agreement in their native tongues. That sounds less like diplomacy and more like extortion, Vincent said quietly, speaking for the first time. Call it what you wish, Commander, said Chancellor Mortek of the Plutonian hierarchy, his 3 eyes blinking in sequence. 27 council members have signed the enforcement decree. Your species will comply or face consequences. Trinity glanced at Vincent. They had anticipated this moment. Humanity had been a spacefaring civilization for barely 2 centuries, infants by galactic standards. The Council had tolerated them initially, amused by their enthusiasm and primitive technology. But humans had expanded faster than anyone predicted, thrived in environments that killed other species, and worst of all, refused to bow. May I ask, Trinity said, her voice carrying across the amphitheater, how many of you have actually visited Earth? Confused murmurs echoed through the chamber. How many of you have studied human history? Our wars, our revolutions, our capacity for both creation and destruction. We know enough, Extor said dismissively. A violent species that achieved space travel through chemical rockets and still uses ballistic weapons. Primitive. Trinity's smile widened, and this time it reached her eyes, but there was no warmth in it. Then you know nothing at all. She activated her holocom, projecting images into the center of the chamber. The council members leaned forward, curious despite themselves. This is Poland, 1939. Trinity narrated as scenes of warfare materialized. A nation invaded by 2 superpowers simultaneously, expected to surrender within days. They fought for 5 weeks. The images shifted. This is Finland, 1939. Attacked by a military force 10 times their size. Expected casualties, complete annihilation. Actual result, they won. Ancient history, S.H. Carr hissed. Irrelevant. Is it? Vincent stepped forward, his voice hard. You want to quarantine Earth? Dismantle our fleet. He laughed, a cold, bitter sound. You're welcome to try. Commander Drake, Chancellor Mortek's voice held warning. You cannot possibly believe your species could resist the combined might of the Galactic Council. We've done the calculations, Trinity said, deactivating the hologram. 27 species signed your decree. That means 46 abstained. Interesting. She began walking slowly around the defendant's circle, her heels clicking against the crystal floor. Of those 27, only 8 have significant military capabilities. The rest are economic powers hiding behind others' strength. This is outrageous. Extor's tentacles thrashed. You dare, I dare speak truth. Trinity interrupted, her voice sharp as broken glass. You see humans as primitive because we still use kinetic weapons and chemical propulsion. But you know what we call a species that's forgotten how to fight? She paused. Extinct. The chamber fell silent. Vincent continued the explanation, his tactical mind laying bare the council's weakness. Your battle cruisers are magnificent when they work, but they require 6 different exotic elements to function, most of which come from only 3 systems in the galaxy. Human ships run on hydrogen and determination. Your soldiers train in virtual reality. Ours bleed in real combat from the day they enlist. You threaten us. Mortec's 3 eyes widened. No, Trinity said softly. We're explaining why your threat means nothing. She activated her holocom again. This time, the projection showed Earth's moon, specifically, the dark side invisible from the planet's surface. These are our shipyards, she said. The image zoomed in, revealing hundreds of construction berths, each one housing a warship in various stages of completion. We've been building for 50 years, ever since we realized the galaxy wasn't the peaceful federation you pretend it is. Gasps echoed through the chamber. 7,412 vessels, Vincent added, each one designed by a species that spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of killing each other. Each one crewed by volunteers who would rather die than surrender. Trinity moved to the center of the defendant's circle. You want our colonies? Come and take them. You want to quarantine Earth? We'll turn your blockade into an asteroid field. You want humanity to bow? Her voice dropped to a whisper that somehow carried to every corner of the amphitheater. We've been invaded, enslaved, massacred, and occupied by our own kind for millennia. Do you really think we fear you? The silence stretched like a physical thing. Finally, High Arbiter Extort spoke, his tentacles hanging limply. What is it you want? Trinity's expression softened slightly. Recognition, respect, fair trade agreements, and the same territorial rights granted to every other species. We don't want war, High Arbiter, but we're very, very good at it. Vincent added, humans have a saying, speak softly and carry a big stick. Consider this us showing you our stick. Chancellor Mortec deactivated his voting crystal. Within seconds, others followed. The enforcement decree dissolved before their eyes. The council, Extort said slowly, will reconsider its position regarding human territorial claims. Trinity bowed, not in submission, but in acknowledgement between equals. We appreciate the council's wisdom. As they left the amphitheater, Vincent leaned close to Trinity. Think that'll hold. She smiled genuinely this time. For a while, until they forget why they backed down. And then we remind them again. That's the human way. Behind them, the Galactic Council dissolved into chaos, but neither human looked back. They had sent their message. Humanity would not be bullied, would not be cowed, and would never, ever surrender. The galaxy was about to learn what humans had known for millennia. Peaceful species make poor neighbors, but dangerous species make excellent allies. And humanity had just announced which category they occupied.